So what we've got here is I'm following up from a previous video where I demonstrated the process of creating a Red Hat OpenShift single node cluster inside of a VMware Workstation or Hyper-V Lab. Right? The links to those videos I'll add to the description. The question that came up out of that was about the storage that was provisioned, which is LVM storage. So the LVM storage operator is provisioned out of the box when you enable the single node cluster with OpenShift virtualization, as per my previous videos. And the question was, well, how do you use the storage? How is it available? And what do you need to do? And I'll just run through that in this video. Hopefully, it won't be too long. The process is pretty straightforward. You'll see the LVM operator is right there. You'll see it creates an LVM cluster. It's called LVM cluster sample if you use the assisted installer. You'll see in the YAML for that, you'll see how it's configured disks. It uses what's called a runtime dynamic discovery policy, which means generally it'll just pick up whatever disks are in the host or the node, as long as they don't have a partition or volume already formatted on. So blank disks will automatically be ingested into the volume group. I mean, you don't have to do anything. If you can disable this policy if you need to add disks for other purposes, but in this case, it'll just pick up and dynamically discover the disk. Now you can see the disk there, NVMe 0N2. So what I'm going to show you now is how you can view that in the volume group, which is all done from the CLI. You can see how big the volume group and the disks are, and then I'll add a disk throughout the course of this video to show you how that process works too. So over to the CLI, log into the CLI using the standard OC login with my kubeadmin login. Get prompted for the password, and then I'll paste the password in now, and we'll be logged in. So in order to actually see the volume groups on the node, I actually need to log into the node. So I use the ocdebug command, ocdebug node /ocp4, which is the name of my node. It sort of provides a miniature SSH or a restricted SSH capability into the node itself. Normally, you wouldn't use SSH management on a node, but there are some things you can get, and does it through a debug pod that will, once the prompt comes up, you will be able to access the commands you need to see. It's up. You may take a little time, but you'll end up with a prompt like this. Now, the commands you need are VGS for volume groups and PVS for the disks. But if you type them in now, which I'll show you, you will not get a response. You'll get an error. And the reason for that is it's a host binary. So you see in the text there, you'll need to use change root to access change root /host to be able to actually access the host binaries. So now you've done that, you go into VGS and then you'll see the volume group again. You go to PVS, you will see the disk. And there is only one disk at the moment. During this video, I'm going to add a second. It shows you the size of the volume group. The size free, if you're using physical disk in a physical host, that should reflect the actual available free size. And because I'm using virtual disks on my lab, it's not always going to be accurate in what it displays. But you can see there's one disk there, and now we're going to go and add a second. So to add a second from within my VMware workstation, I need to shut down the node because I'm using NVMe, and NVMe can't be added while the machine is running. So I'll go and set the node to shut down. Then we'll go and add a disk, and we'll turn it back on, and we'll see that disk in the LVM group. Shut down now, so I need to go into the virtual machine settings on the node, and then I'll be able to add the second disk. Because it is virtual, I can do it all through my VMware workstation console. So I'll go in and edit the machine settings. And click add, and then add hard disk. I'll stick with NVMe, and I'll just add a new disk. 200 gigs should be enough, and then just we're done. Click OK, and I'll turn the machine back on. I'll speed through this process because it takes a little while to boot up a Red Hat OpenShift node. So now the node's back up and I'm back on it. We'll go back into the CLI because that's how you can see the space, the storage space. You will, if you go into the operator YAML, we will see the disk showing under the discovery profile. But we'll go to OC debug, node OCP4. Okay, again, change root host, and then VGS and then PVS. We'll see the new volume group size will be 400 gig, as you can see there, and you will see the new PVS in there. So, and that is pretty much it with that. Next, I'll talk about the warning that's showing up there, the CDI no default storage class. Now, the CDI part of a cron job that is used to provide the preloaded images for virtual machines. Red Hat provided a number of virtual machine templates that come with their own boot source and storage for Red Hat virtual machines, Enterprise Linux, CentOS, Fedora, but they need a default storage class before they will work. And if there's no default storage class, then they can't run. And even though the assisted installer built with only a single storage class, that storage class is not set to be the default. So you'll see in here, you see all these templates, but none of them have source listed as available. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and set the LVM storage class to be the default, after which that cron job will run and we'll start to see those sources being available. You can do this from either the CLI or from the web console. Since I'm on the web console, I'm just going to do it from here. You go down to the storage section, and then in there you'll see under storage classes, you'll see the storage class that we are using. This LVMS-VG1. And what you go in there, you click on that and you'll see under the default classes listed as false. You'll see the section called annotations. Now, if you were doing it from the web console, that's where you need to go. You go into annotations and click add value, and you set a value for the default storage class. And that value is storage kubernetes.io / is default class, and you set the value to true. Now, I'll put these in the description. Hopefully that'll help. and you set once you set that value to true, that'll make the storage class the default for everything. You can also set a separate one for kubevert or virtualization, which is storageclass.kubevert.io slash is default vert class, and set that to be true. And if both of them are set, the the kubevert will take priority. It's generally good practice to have them both to be the same class unless there's a reason otherwise. But now that's done, you see the default class is true. The cron job will start to ingest the images automatically. I'll speed through that. That process takes some time, and then I'll show you the outcome. Now that is done, we can see boot sources available for CentOS, Fedora, Red Hat 8 and 9, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and provision a virtual machine. You see virtual machines down there. We click on that, and we go and create a new virtual machine. From template, I'm just going to select Red Hat Enterprise Linux version 9. And I'm just going to keep the defaults because it has a boot source available. The storage class, there is a default storage class available, so I'll just click create, and then we watch it go through. You'll see it has to copy the PVC or the storage. That can take some time, so we'll speed through parts of this deployment. But once it's done, you'll have a running Red Hat Linux virtual machine that you can then go and log into. Okay, the virtual machine is running. You can see at the console, the host name is showing as what was the name of the virtual machine when I provisioned it in OpenShift. You'll see default credentials. I'll copy that default cloud user and I'll paste it to the console. I will do the same with the password is created, and then in we go, and there we are, and the virtual machine is up and running. And that's pretty much all there is to and all I was going to talk about on this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you want to hear more of my content, just like, share, subscribe, um, leave comments. I appreciate comments and questions. The question is how I got to this video, and I certainly enjoy talking about Red Hat OpenShift. So if you want to hear more, just ask. And until next time, thanks.